everyone. Today we are going to understand a very important topic of organizational behavior, which is theories of learning. So, first of all, let us understand the basic meaning of learning. See, learning is basically a process, okay? It's a process of enhancing the knowledge base. Why do we need to enhance our knowledge? So as to apply it in a real life, or also to gain a conceptual clarity. Okay, so it basically brings the relatively permanent change in the conduct of an individual. Very right. Whenever we are learning something, we are enhancing our knowledge, and that's why we are becoming wiser. We will be able to apply all those learned things in our real life, okay, and take wise decisions, right? After learning about how to play a guitar, okay, I may try to play tune of many songs, okay, because I have learned. So now I can play many songs, okay, many tunes basically, right? So this was about learning. Now let us discuss the various theories of learning. See, the first theory is classical conditioning. It was given by Nobel laureate Ivan Pavlov. Okay, so basically, this theory is based on a cause and effect relation between the stimulus. The stimulus is something that motivates us to do something, okay, and the response. Okay, so basically, he performed this theory on a dog, okay, and developed a cause and effect relation between the food, okay, food that the dog got, and also the response, which was in the form of barking or all this saliva that the dog produced every time he saw the food. Okay, so let us understand this through an example. Let's say if I get a certain food, okay, every day, I give response by saying yummy, okay. On one fine day, if I don't get the food, but only a wrapper is shown to me and I don't respond, right? But one fine day, along with the wrapper, okay, I get food, okay. Basically, after unwrapping the wrapper, I get food and thereby I give response, right? So now that my mind has associated wrapper with food, that is, each time wrapper is opened, I will be getting the food. So whenever any wrapper is shown or is being unwrapped, I will give a response because my mind has been conditioned, okay? My mind has been trained for the same thing. So Pavlov basically did the same thing with a dog, right? So the basic elements that we have in this theory are the unconditioned stimulus, okay? So unconditioned stimulus is basically a stimulus that elicit response without training. So basically, he first of all he gave food to the dog, okay, and dog and food basically was the unconditioned stimulus because it was something that the dog responded, okay, without any training. The dog barked, okay, when he saw the food, he barked. So food is basically or was basically the unconditioned response or the stimulus, right? Then there is conditioned stimulus, okay. Conditioned stimulus is basically when a whistle was associated with the food, okay. Now that the dog was given food along with the whistle, that is, the whenever the whistle was blown, after that the food was served to the dog, so it became a conditioned response or stimulus for the dog, right? See, so the stimulus that elicit a response because it has been repeatedly paired with something, okay, and also it has unconditioned response, okay. Unconditioned response is the response that the dog gives every time he sees the food, okay, when it is not being associated with anything like whistle, okay. Then there is also conditioned response, which refers to a reflex response after learning has occurred to elicit the response by a conditioned response. Very right, okay. So this was all about classical conditioning, wherein a cause and effect relation between the stimulus, that is the food, and the response, okay, that is the saliva of the dog, was developed, okay. Now the other theory is operant conditioning. It was basically given by B.F. Skinner, okay. He is also the father of OB, organizational behavior. He performed this experiment basically on a rabbit, okay, in which what he used to do was he that every time the rabbit pressed a paddle, the rabbit used to get food, okay. But on one fine day, the rabbit, when pressed the paddle, there were some nails which which hurt him, right? And therefore the rabbit could not get the food because he was not able to press the paddle simply, right? And he abstained from this activity in future because fearing that it will hurt him, right? So operant conditioning theory is performed basically to increase or decrease a certain behavior. Let's say a child, okay, a child is not a very studious one, right? And his or her parents wants him or her to get good marks. So what they are going to do in order to increase a certain behavior, what is the behavior of getting more marks? What are they going to do? They are going to give him or her a chocolate or any present, okay, any, it can be any. So let's say they give him or her a chocolate every time he or she performs well. So what is happening in this case? A certain thing is added, okay, a certain product is added in order to increase the behavior. What is the behavior of getting the good marks, right? That is a good behavior in which he or she is getting good grades, right? So operant conditioning is basically performed to increase or decrease certain behavior. Okay. Now the next theory, cognitive mapping theory, it was basically given by Jean Piaget. Okay. So Jean Piaget basically talked about that the person basically learns from thinking, okay. He or she learns from thinking and knowing the thing, okay. For example, when we are young, okay, people or our relatives or our family members just tell us that these are the hands of clock, this is the bigger hand and this is the smaller hand, and they just tell us about the numbers, and we have to eventually learn how to see the time, okay. That is learnt in our mind, okay, through our cognitive ability. So Jean Piaget was basically of the opinion that the person learns from his or her cognitive ability, of a thinking ability, right? Then the last one is the social learning theory. It was basically given by Albert Bandura. See, Albert Bandura believed that a person learns from observation, okay. What happens is initially a person sees something, okay, then retains that in the mind, okay, and then practices the same thing and finally becomes good at that. We see this basically in various sports, okay, or any kind of art, let's say music and all. What happens in, let's say, cricket? The batsman or a bowler first sees how the coach is training, okay, how he or she is batting, then retains that basic thing in mind, what would be the action in this type of ball, okay, and then practices the same and becomes good at it, okay. The more you practice, the better you become, okay. So this is all about social learning theory. So what did we understand today? We basically understood the meaning of learning. See, learning is anything, okay, anything that is enhancing, that is augmenting, increasing our knowledge base. Okay, so it's very important that we keep on learning things, because learning helps us to become a wise human being. Okay, then we learned about the theories of learning, in which we discussed about classical conditioning, which was given by a very famous Nobel laureate, Ivan Pavlov, in which he performed an experiment on dog, okay, and developed a cause and effect relation, okay, by associating it with a conditioned response, which was a whistle. Okay, then we also talked about operant conditioning, wherein it was performed on a rabbit by B.F. Skinner, and it was performed to increase or decrease the behavior of rabbit in this case. Okay. Then we also talked about cognitive mapping theory, which was given by Jean Piaget, and he told about that a person learns from thinking and knowing. And lastly, we talked about social learning theory, which basically was given by Albert Bandura, where he talked about the observation part, that is, a person learns from seeing things, okay, observing things. Now let us practice some important questions. Which theory was given by Albert Bandura? See, we just now discussed that social learning theory was given by Albert Bandura, so correct answer is C. Unconditioned response is part of which theory? See, we discussed that unconditioned response, conditioned stimulus, and all are part of our classical conditioning, which was given by Ivan Pavlov. Huh? Right. So he performed this on a dog. Right. So this was all for today. Thank you so much for your time.